Hi everyone, welcome to another segment of Word of the Day. This is Caesar with Inspire Movement. I hope that everybody's having a great start to their week. Today we're going to explore the word addiction. So when we think of addiction, we think of a brain disorder that's characterized by compulsive engagement in a rewarding stimuli despite having adverse effects. So essentially you're doing something over and over again despite it being bad for you. How do we know if we're addicted, currently addicted? Well, typically you have a general lack of self-control. You do things continually that are bad for you, but you continue to do them anyways. You ignore special relationships, you ignore commitments and responsibilities. These are some of the general symptoms of being addicted. How do we become addicted? Well, becoming addicted can be as simple as being genetically predisposed to addiction, either to a substance or potentially even a behavior. You typically also have a poor social support network, so you don't have folks that can help you steer away from that compulsive behavior that generally can also lend itself to becoming addicted. Another thing to consider is also that age factors into becoming addicted, where young people typically suffer from addiction or can become addicted more easily than, say, an adult could. There are two general types of addictions that we can think of. We can think of substance addiction like alcohol and drugs, or behavior. So how do we overcome something like addiction to a substance? Well, the first thing that you need to do is seek some form of professional help, right? There are places like alcohol and drug rehab treatment centers that can be very, very helpful for you. Another thing to consider is to have a very supportive group of people around you, hopefully people that are not addicted themselves and are sober. Some things that you can do after you've already sought some form of professional help is to exercise, to seek some form of meditation, to eat well, to talk things out with a therapist. So these are things that can generally help you as you're looking to that path for healing. With things like behavioral addiction, we think of like gaming addiction, sex addiction, gambling addiction, internet addiction. These are behavioral addictions that people can compulsively do and can have terribly adverse effects. How do we overcome these types of things? Well, you have to think of things like cognitive behavioral therapy, talk therapy, group therapy. These are all ways that you can help to cope with these types of addictions and afflictions. As I reflect on addiction myself, well, I think it's safe to say that most families have experienced some form of addiction, whether it be you personally haven't been afflicted by addiction or a family member or a loved one. I myself have had family members afflicted by alcohol and drugs, and I have witnessed firsthand the terrible adverse effects that these things can have on the individual as they try to really struggle with existing, and also the family itself. Myself, as I think of addiction and compulsive type of behavior, I think I lend myself to being more of an obsessive compulsive type of personality. And I can remember earlier on as a young man having these sorts of compulsions with shopping. Now it may seem sort of trivial at first, but my addiction of sorts behaviorally was to buying for a period things like baseball cards. And it sounds pretty innocent and tame at first, but it led to me even at one occasion taking money from my mom's purse in order to buy baseball cards because I was so incredibly compulsed to buying it. Fortunately for me, I had the benefit of having that strong support group to help steer me away from that type of behavior, but not everybody has that. So if you are in fact dealing with some form of addiction or think that you are, I think recognizing that you do have that type of affliction right now is number one. And secondly, to understand that it's very difficult for you to overcome that by yourself. Probably impossible to a certain degree. And that goes for substance as well as behavioral addiction. What can we do? We need to try to help not only ourselves, but those that are afflicted that we love to a path of health, by being that strong support system for them that they need, and help steering them in the right direction by seeking the professional help that they need. We need to also not be judgmental if we know somebody that's going through any type of addiction. We need to remember that there are folks, for example, that do some form of pain management medication, whether it be hydrocodone or Oxycontin, and then all of a sudden find themselves, because they're genetically predisposed to being addicted to opioids and things like heroin. and their life goes into terrible mishap after that. So we need to be not judgmental and just be a support system for one another. Again, these are some of my own personal reflections. I hope that you guys find some of these things useful. Again, tune in to our coming segments and check us out on YouTube, check us out on our Instagram, check us out on Facebook. We're just looking for ways to connect with you every single week, and I hope that you find some benefit in our discussions together. Have a blessed week, and I hope to see you guys next week. Bye-bye.